Again, we started out early so we can end early, and we went to Mass at St. Xavier's, which is the parish church for the Christians in Jerusalem. That's what it looks like during the day, but we went there a little early when it was still dark, and we crossed up along the road towards Newgate, and we crossed over at Newgate and entered into the old city.
Here's our group walking through Newgate this morning to head to Mass at St. Francis Xavier, the local parish here for Christians. We're on our way to the 6:30 Mass this morning in the old city of Jerusalem. Morning, Tom.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Doing good. Here we are going down through the walkways of old Jerusalem. Starting to wake up a little bit here. Walking in our sleeps, and Trudy. And here we're stepping into the church through this little door. Sorry. And up these stairs. There's the Franciscan cross, and we're heading up the stairs today.
Dal secondo libro di Samuele. In quei giorni arrivò un informatore da Davide e disse: il cuore degli israeliti si è volto verso Absalone. Allora Davide disse a tutti i suoi ministri che erano con lui a Gerusalemme: un grande profeta è sorto in mezzo a noi. Dio ha visitato il suo popolo.
Il Signore sia con voi. Dal Vangelo secondo Marco. In quel tempo Gesù e i suoi discepoli giunsero all'altra riva del mare, nella regione dei Geraseni.
Remember the gate when we used to go down by the gate with these cars. You see those taxis here? This was an English taxi station. That's why they're still having that. Look at the gate to your right.
No. We just passed through security to go up on Temple Mount, which we are now heading up this wooden walkway. We're going to go up there and enter up at the top there on Temple Mount. There's the Dome of the Rock. There's Al-Aqsa Mosque. And we're going to see where the temple used to stand.
This is the wooden ramp that takes us up to the Temple Mount, and we look down over the western wall and we can see the Jews praying from up above.
We are on top of Temple Mount. For today we have the Al-Aqsa Mosque here for the men. We have the Dome of the Rock over there for the women, the shrine above the rock that Abraham offered his son Isaac on. That is inside and under that mosque there. And here you see many women here praying, Muslims. And also tour groups. We're going right up this way. Temple on top, and this is the place where they found Jesus, back here at the temple. And when Mary said, "Why have you done this to your father and I?" Jesus said, "Don't you know that I have to be at my Father's house?" That he loved this place. One time when I was down filming at the Western Wall, and I was walking towards the camera, through the Jews to the camera, and I said, "Paul loved this place. Jesus loved this place." And when I said that name, the Jews came after me, and they tried to take my camera away, and the police came. You're lucky you weren't there that day. The police came, the rabbis came. It was a big argument with about 50 people going on. And because of the name, I would have been fine if I hadn't said that name. Right down below at the Western Wall.
Oh, at the wall.
Yeah.
So what was the rock inside the temple, or was it? I don't understand the word.
I'll let Amr deal with that issue.
A property that belonged originally to a Yebusite by the name of Ornan. His name is mentioned also in the Bible. The part that Steve just read from Genesis, this is an episode that takes place during the time of Abraham. It did not make headlines until when? Until the time of King David, actually. Only at the time of King David.
Now approaching the Dome of the Rock, a shrine built over the rock where Abraham offered his son Isaac on Mount Moriah. And here we come.
Take a group picture. I say that this is, if you look around, everything is pavement, man-made, and this is original bedrock right here, which according to Professor Kaufman from the Hebrew University, this is the location of where the Ark of the Covenant was laid.
When?
During the time when the temple was standing.
So the temple would have been over here.
Yeah, from Solomon's time.
So you're saying the
So
temple
the Ark
was
of the
on
Covenant where it stood
back
right here
side
on
of
this
the Temple
bedrock.
Mount.
And I,
On top of
if you allow me, I will comment a little bit more. We have the exact measures of the temple. What Kaufman did is that assuming that this is the place where the Ark of the Covenant, he went out and he measured this much, and he did a sample excavation, and he found one of the corners of Solomon's temple. And he went in another direction and he found another one, and in another direction, and he found the four corners of the temple. Based on what he came up with this? He says in the Old Testament, the Holy of Holies is located in a place where if you came out and you walked out in direct line towards the Mount of Olives, you would be able to see in a straight line the Golden Gate. Meaning if you walk out straight, you go to the Golden Gate. Now, if you stand inside that building and you go out, you do not come to the Golden Gate. Look again at my phone to explain that better. If this is the Dome of the Rock, and you go out from the Dome of the Rock and go out east, you don't hit the Golden Gate because the Golden Gate is here. So some assumed that the Golden Gate of today has changed location, which is very legitimate assumption. And that is when they went and did excavations on the Golden Gate, and they were surprised to know that it is on the exact same location because the foundations show that's where the Golden Gate was. So Kaufman said, instead of going out east, why don't go to the gate and go out west? And where does that bring you? To this spot. And that is, to answer your...
We stopped to see the grotto of the arrest where Jesus was arrested. This is in Gethsemane, and this is where they would spend the night in the cave. And this is where Judas, of course, came Jesus praying with his disciples, and here's a picture of Judas kissing Jesus. After that, we went into the Church of Mary's grave, her tomb, and it's also called the Church of the Assumption. Assumed into heaven. And somebody wrote to the bishop a while later and said, "Can you send us a relic of Mary? Since you're from the Bishop of Jerusalem." And he says, "Mary, there are no relics of Mary. She was assumed into heaven. She's not here." So that we're going to go down here and see the place where she was buried. And the second name of this church is, first name is the Tomb of Mary. The second name of this church is the Church of the Assumption. We're going down into the Church of the Tomb of Mary, also known as the Church of the Assumption. Janet, we're going into the Tomb of Mary. You see here the image, the icon of her being buried with the disciples around. And then we have the disciples coming back to the tomb later and finding out that she has been assumed into heaven. Shows the place where Mary was buried, where she was assumed into heaven. Back out. This is looking back at the Church of the Assumption and the Grotto of the Arrest. We all got back on the bus and we headed down into the Judean wilderness of the Jordan River, but you're going to have to stay for part 2 of that. We also go to Bethany and some other places. You have to watch part 2 of today's video.